Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We're actually going to try and use text for the first half of this meeting because it's a preferred.
Alrighty.
But yeah, we'll be switching to voice the second half. That's faster and easier for some.
Let's see here. Yeah, my team and I have actually been working on full body tracking rider. We're actually here to pitch it and to show it off a little bit. Thank you. I'm not in text chat at the moment because I'm in VR and in Second Life with the tracking, so it's a little tricky. We do need location bones for puppetry. Otherwise, we can't walk around in our physical space. Which is why I'm kind of locked.
25 minutes or something and talk about it then?
Sure.
Yeah, thanks. It's you're doing great stuff, and I definitely want to get to it. Or if you want to do it in text, please mention it that you want to talk about it later or whatever. I just want to see if we can. My brain's gonna explode if I try two things at once.
Great. This is much more convenient. You can't do VR and typing at the same time. Let me just set this up. But yeah, when you turn on full body tracking in VR chat and Neos VR, it just overrides your foot IKs. But you need to calibrate your avatar so that it knows where the floor is below you. Although this information is usually transmitted by Oculus because you configure your floor space before you put on your headset. Or, well, you have your headset on. So that's how it knows, like, where your avatar is relative to your floor.
Yeah, I remember playing with someone's Oculus, and we had to redefine the tracking space whenever we like changed where it was we were using it.
Yeah, I didn't have to change any of that. Right now, my team and I have a working version of an OpenXR to Second Life pipeline. However, it is very jury-rigged. It requires Blender as a conduit between the two programs. So what we're here to propose is that Linden Labs develop an official OpenXR to Second Life plugin using some of the information that we've gathered in this project. For example, we know how to retarget an OpenXR rig to a Second Life one and have it work correctly. Yeah. So I can retarget your motion capture suits to Second Life if you'd like.
We definitely want to get the OpenXR into Second Life plugin or whatever that pipeline's going to be going. So yeah, any info and or code will be greatly appreciated. I don't know how much we're going to be able to do it or how fast it would go with us totally, if we had to do it ourselves. But certainly after this project went public and we've talked with everyone like yourself, it's pretty obvious that would be a huge, just so many different things plugged in, being able to animate.
Yeah, as far as helping goes, Chaser Zax actually created the plugin that I'm using as a conduit into Second Life.
Oh, you built on top of his Blender one?
Precisely, yeah. And then I have a separate plugin that's taking motion capture OpenXR data and streaming it into Blender in real time. I then retargeted the Second Life rig to that rig so that I could have real-time motion capture. And I'm on a Rift S. I'm not full body tracking, so it's only seeing my head and my hands. But I do have other people here who have an Xbox Connect and a Valve Index, and it works just fine for them, with some exceptions.
And I think the discussion going on about the pelvis and feet, obviously to get full body going right, we'd have to figure that out. Keep your feet on the ground.
Yeah, the big one is bone locations. We actually can't really do very much unless we can, locate our bones in the 3D space. Chaser was talking about this a little bit. It's very difficult to offset the bones right now with Puppetry. Is that going to change, or?
I can't give you a real answer right now until I would actually try and dig in and understand the math involved, and Leviathan's going to be the more
What do you mean, offset the bones?
Yeah, right now we can only rotate our bones. We can't actually, offset from our origin point here. We can't really squat down or anything. So our bones aren't translating like they would
the pelvis,
in animation.
Or...
Yeah, right now I'm very much locked to my pelvis. So you see if I squat down, I'm actually just squatting towards my pelvis.
Yeah. That we understand that is an issue, and we need to be able to move the pelvis, animate the pelvis in world by moving it around, which you can do with animation and all that. We just gotta open that up.
Yeah, I would call that moving the pelvis rather than offsetting the bones.
Sure.
What is OpenXR written in? What language?
It's a sort of a whole system of data and all that, not a specific language, but
okay.
I can get you.
C++. It has a C++ library or API. Okay.
Yeah, it's an API. and there is some attempts at Python bindings and things like that. So I think we got to dig around and start finding more controllers and seeing what we can layer up to it.
Mhm.
I've got 2 bits I wanted to throw out there and announce. One is just a new script I push up into the Leap repository in a side branch. It's just a poser. All it does is read a JSON-based data file that has bone positions, and currently it's all rotation, and sets it up as that's the data you're sending out. But the fun part of it is you can actually live edit it, so you can change numbers and hit save, and your avatar will move. Just interesting. It's not an end feature that's going to turn into anything, but you can play around with moving and some basic positions and things like that. So that's just out there as an example. The data file does have like all 133 bones listed in it, so maybe hopefully it's a helpful starting point for people playing around or trying things out. And actually, that would be a good one. You should be able to see if the pelvis can be set at anything. Actually, it does only have a rotation, so yeah, there's not what you need there. The other thing is definitely more low level and more interesting and possibly disruptive. I have in the viewer there's a branch called Viewer 558 data packing, and that converts the data going from the viewer to the server and back down to a more efficient packing format. And I believe with this implementation, well, 2 things. One, it is the same resolution that all existing animation data in Second Life currently has. It's packing the 32-bit floating points into 16 bits, scaled so that there's not quantization issues. And that with that, we should be able to put the full data set into one packet and send it over the wire.
Okay.
So, yeah, exactly, Chaser. It's basically matching -5 to 5 over 16 bits. Yeah, so that, you could, well, like that sample file I just wrote, you could basically blast out every single bone position, and it should fit in one packet. That's probably something I should try to just confirm it. So yeah, I hope that will help. I hope in the future we have bandwidth issues because so many people are using this cool feature. But when we get there, this should make it better. And the disruptive part of that is that this is incompatible with the current format we send over the wire. I think it should be a replacement, and I don't think unless we find out we really need 32 bits of floating point precision on this, that we don't need to support what we have now. So if you went and got that code change and built the viewer, and we're in this like a group like this, only people with a new data format could see you move, and people with the old data format couldn't. You can't see people with the old data format moving. It's an incompatible change. It's safe and passes through the server in either format, no problem. And the viewer doesn't crash when it gets the data that it doesn't expect. It's not the disruption is basically that there could or will be confusion as this goes out. So people that are actually building viewers, when we go to push this update, we'll announce it and have whatever new code out. Please go grab the new code. We'll have that at least one of the freeze fixes, and hopefully any other any other bug fixes and all that we can gather together. We should have Leviathan's fading in and out code, which will make that a little bit smoother. I think it'll be, it's a first update. We'd like to get that out to everybody, and it should be a good step forward. So please grab it and update your stuff, and we'll all be talking the same format again.
Yeah, I agree with Chaser here. Seems pretty good already, actually.
We're actually not. Yeah, well, we're using the high precision floats now, and yeah, there's no need for it in the animation. So I think and if you do the math on how that spreads out with the range, it's way under. I think it's like around 1/10 of a millimeter accuracy. It's not. I don't think it's gonna be a problem. So anyway, yeah, that switch is in the works, and we'll try and be loud about it when it goes out. But we'll just have, if we run into people that have the old viewer or whatever, we'll have to encourage them to go get it. We're still very much in this developer experimental phase, so I don't think the incompatible shift is going to be a problem or worth doing a lot of coding to support one and support both or anything like that. Those are my big or little bits of news.
Okay.
Ryder, Leviathan, you got other stuff? Throw the floor open again.
I would mention something I was thinking about when you were talking about that. And this is something that we've kicked around internally at Linden Lab, and I figured I'd mention it. If we manage to send all the bone data in compressed format, we don't necessarily have to send IK targets for you, to stream that through and have your client do the IK for everybody else. We could set it up so that maybe you do IK for your own avatar and then you just stream your whole state. That would simplify some things.
Sure.
May actually, it's a trade-off between bandwidth perhaps and CPU, but that might be the way to go forward for Puppetry.
It would certainly relieve the pressure on people with slower machines in crowded spaces.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think people will really like that.
Yeah, as it stands now, we're not. I allocated a certain amount of bandwidth for this, and we're not. Yes, we need to compress it further, but yeah, I'm not too worried. I'm not too worried about it. Send the whole skeleton.
Yeah, for sure. This is already very close to having VR support in Second Life, like official VR full body tracking.
Yeah, I think we could try out with that example program of just editing a bit and coming up with data for every single bone and sending it and taking a look at make sure that fits into one packet. If we've reached that point, that's really good.
Yeah, right now it's pretty hacky. Like I said, we're going through Blender as a conduit, and we have a third-party program called Mocap Fusion. It's free, it's on Steam, so you can download it. Yeah, we have a free program called Mocap Fusion. Oh, let me check my mic settings.
You're back regular. It just went crunchy for a few seconds. got it. So mocap fusion does the capture side of things, and that feeds it into Blender, and then you feed it into Second Life. Is that correct?
What is Blender's decimal point? Isn't it like 6 or 7? Or is it 8?
Good question, but I'm sure it's pretty accurate.
Yeah, I'm using the same Blender conduit as Alex, the same program, but for my Xbox One Connect, I'm using a free program called Delicode Animate, which transfers the full body skeleton data from the Kinect sensor and then remaps it to the Second Life skeleton through the same code base or the same system that Alex is using. But Delicode has a native Blender plugin which transfers the Xbox skeleton data to point data inside of Blender.
Do you have a link you could post in the chat for that?
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
See if my microphone's any better.
Yeah, that was good. You were actually fine, and then it was probably 3 to 5 seconds you went crunchy. So.
Yeah, I might have switched to my Oculus Rift S mic, unfortunately.
I was going to say a bird landed on the wire.
But yeah, if you'd like to get this add-on working, along with Mocap Fusion, I can help you guys out. I have a copy of the Second Life Armature retargeted, so I can send you that as well.
Yes, please. Do you?
Chaser's question still hasn't been answered from forever ago.
Oh, which was?
I believe it was something about the baked skeleton. Help me, Chaser. Help me. I'm helping you. Help me. The baked skeleton. Yes, Chaser. Yes. The reason I brought it up is because they've indicated that their project kind of depends on it in some way.
One thing I want to that I want to stress, we do need contributor agreements before we if I can send people links as appropriate.
Absolutely. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not a programmer, but I have a lot of experience with Blender, and now I have a lot of experience with retargeting armatures, so I can help on that front. Chaser can help on the programming front, but he definitely needs the resources to create the OpenXR plugin directly. Oh, that would be helpful.
I see. There is a way to query the default skeleton just to get the length. But you're saying you would like to have the skeleton after it's in its current final animation state.
Yeah, like its appearance slider state.
So with the sliders applied then. The viewer
Yeah,
has that.
What
Viewer
what
has
you
that.
have on the screen translated back on reading what the bones out of what you see on the screen. Is that it?
Specifically, things like your arm length and your leg length. Yeah.
Wait, what? I think I didn't write that code that queries the skeleton and gets the skeleton bones back into the Leap plugin. But my guess is that it sends the bones in the T-pose, not in the current animation state. You know, like whether you're sitting or walking or whatever.
I think you're right, Leviathan.
But Leviathan, there's also slider length. For instance, arm length is a slider, not an animation.
It reads that information from the current list of joints, but I'll have to audit it. So what are we asking for exactly? I still don't quite understand.
Let me see if I understand what's being asked for correctly. So I'll just rephrase it. When your shape is applied to your avatar skeleton, it adjusts bone lengths based on, we call them they're called in the UI sliders, so that seems to be the term. But the bone lengths are adjusted by those slider values, and that affects what the viewer displays. So, for instance, if I had my arm lengths at 100, and then my avatar appears to have the arms of my avatar would be dragging against the ground. Well, not quite that extreme, but am I rephrasing what's being asked for correctly?
It's not just the shape sliders though.
Which other slider? What other?
Well, it would be. I think that he's talking about his mesh avatar, and the mesh avatar or anything rigged can influence the lengths of things, which, I mean, there's some of the most popular bodies in Second Life kind of do that, so it's like what the viewer returns will not be, it won't be the right length. Like, am I wrong? I don't know.
I didn't realize that.
So not post-scaling. It's not sending the lengths after scaling or offset, perhaps.
Okay. Thank you, Lucy.
I did not know. I did not know that there was that feedback there.
Well, that is possible to do. I'd probably have to get my hands on such an avatar and dig into it to see how to get the right data. So it could be done.
By the way, there is a link to the contributors agreement on this page. And
Awesome.
here's the actual contributors agreement.
And we've asked and can't avoid asking or requiring that because of lawyers.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But you may need help setting it up. There is a bit of a process involved. I can give you written instructions, but it can be a little tricky. Let's see here.
I think we've realize that's going to be true of pretty much all the various setups and things we're talking about. But yeah, your help is greatly appreciated.
Okay, one moment. See if I can transfer you the blend file. Oh, Chaser, can I send them your add-on? Awesome, thank you.
Well, I do have some cycles to work on puppetry. I'm not on it full time. I'm motivated to allow the pelvis to offset first. I can work on that. I'm somewhat interested in working on the OpenXR plugin. The Leap plugin could be anything as long as it's writing the correct data to standard out. So, like, you could write it in C++. Like, you could write a C++ app, and as long as it's producing the right data, the viewer will be able to parse it. So, some C++, if you had like a simple OpenXR input data set, then all you have to do is write the layer that translates that into the Leap format. And then you could get the data out. The main problem with that is getting Leap data back in. There's some hassles there. I'd love to avoid them, but I might have to write those. Anyways, I'm just mentioning 2 items that I could put on my short list to maybe look at in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think the figuring out the pelvis sounds like a fundamental thing. We've got to be able to support to get full body. The example of a crouch or a dance or whatever that it's really your feet are anchored on the ground in real life, and so that's got to respond correctly.
Okay, do I have to mail you guys this form physically, or what do I do?
I believe a electronic version is.
Should be in this, on that instruction page.
Okay. One issue I've run into with puppetry at the moment is that when you rotate your head, it doesn't also rotate your first-person camera. So that'd be very helpful.
Yeah, that would get a bit.
What I think would be interesting would be to instrument the event handlers in Leap to actually be able to get a message that says point your camera this way. Also, we could add handlers in the Leap for the Leap events for like being able to move your avatar around. So you could write a script that specifies where you should be walking, the velocity or whatever. Basically, you could bypass the like an Xbox controller, just write a script that supplies all the events.
Yeah, as long as there's some preset there that your Oculus controllers or whatever controller you're using is automatically configured when you enable the OpenXR plugin. So that way you can just start controlling your avatar immediately.
Sure, but as a first step, you'd have to actually be able to handle those events at the viewer. And then if you did that, you wouldn't have to write in OpenXR. You could write Python or whatever. That would be the first step.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to supporting moving the camera with your head, I'd prefer to do it by adding some event that Leap knows how to handle.
Sure. But yeah, those are really the main things. Having the first-person camera follow, having controller support for the Oculus, and having that OpenXR bridge to Second Life, just simplified from what we currently have.
Well, actually, if I was making a short list, I would probably put the work to do on getting the bone scales and offsets working first before digging into OpenXR, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm only trying to think in 2-week time chunks.
Yeah, the pelvic bone fix would be extremely helpful.
All right. I actually need to run. Thank you, everyone.
Yep, I
Take
gotta
care,
go too.
Ryder.
Didn't realize we were
Take
passing.
care.
Thanks everybody for coming.
Bye.
Do we have anything else before I run off? Before we all run off?
Oh, are there any LSL functions planned for Puppetry?
Your mic went wonky.
Oh,
Not
LSL
yet.
functions for Puppetry. Okay.
Not yet, but we can certainly talk. We can certainly talk about it. I actually have some ideas running around in my head, but I've not written anything. I've not written anything down yet.
Awesome. Cool. We can discuss that next week or next meeting, I suppose.
Yeah, let's talk about what you need for one of the things I saw that came up on the Discord channel was the discussion about being able to have two avatars hold hands.
Oh yeah, we can kind of do that. See
Well,
what I'm
I thought
holding
it was
his
about
hand.
constraints. I don't know.
Being able to say take my left hand attachment point and match it with someone else's right hand attachment point.
Mm-hmm.
And being able to do something like that from script would be, I think, really powerful.
Absolutely.
That's really ambitious.
Or even being able to, or even we'd started off with take my right hand attachment point and place it at this rotation on the and this location. That would be the first step in that.
In world frame, you mean?
Yes.
In world location.
Yes.
Yeah, so you could like grab a railing or touch a wall or something.
Sure. Hey!
You guys brought up constraints. Um, is there something quick you want to say about constraints? Constraints need a lot of work, but I'm willing to listen.
Yeah, I mean, puppeteering and constraints go hand in hand, but that's something we can discuss next week for sure.
All right, next time.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Take care.
See you all. Thanks for coming.
Oh, when is the next meeting?
2 weeks from now.
Now, I'll check the calendar just to make sure I'm not a liar. Where's my calendar? There's my calendar. So next week is maintenance, next week is content creator. That's the 29th. And
6th?
then on
October
the
6th?
6th, I show SL Puppet.
Okay.
Yeah, I show our next meeting on the 6th. Although I show one on the 13th, oddly enough, as well.
We get 2 weeks in a row.
It looks like It looks like we're here for 2 weeks in a row because it's content creator next week.
Oh, okay.
And then content creator on the 6th. Puppetry on the 13th. And then oh no, I was
Wait,
lying.
the 29th you said for content creator?
Content creator is the 29th. So I changed pages and was lying to you. It's
That's
so
fine.
yeah, next one's the 6th. All right, thank you everyone.
So they get 2 weeks in a row. scritching.